Welcome, everyone, once again to the Esoteric Wellness Blog. I am your host, Coach Kyle. So, with Thanksgiving being this week, I thought we would discuss the meaning of the holiday, supposedly being gratitude, giving thanks. So, yeah, let's talk about gratitude. And not in the sense that, some moral understanding of gratitude of what we should be grateful for. And we're always told we should be grateful, but more in the sense of how we can use gratefulness as a tool, as a way to improve our own experience, our own health, and what that means, what that looks like. So, firstly, gratitude is just a feeling, an emotion of thankfulness, being thankful for what we have, and not kind of the opposite of gratitude would be feeling like we're in lack, in need of things that we don't have. So, firstly, just breaking this down very simply, when we feel gratitude, we are experiencing that emotion of gratitude. We're sending our brain information to our primitive brain that we are essentially safe. And if you've been listening to this for any length of time, you're noticing it always comes down to safety versus danger with our brains. So, gratitude makes our brains feel safe. It makes it feel like we have everything we need. We have our needs being met. We're not in lack. We're not in scarcity. And that makes us feel safe, because the opposite of gratitude can mean that there are very real situations where maybe we don't have our needs being met. There is some scarcity, and that could be threatening to our lives, depending on what it is. So, in just that way, feeling an emotion that's telling our brain that we're safe can help the brain to protect us less. And the brain has many options of ways to protect us, but pretty much all of them are unpleasant, whether it be chronic symptoms, chronic pain, anxiety, just general discomfort, unease. The ways in which our brains protect us is unpleasant. We don't like it. So if we can have our brain protecting us less, it's just going to lead to a more positive experience. So there's that element. So we use this a lot in working with chronic symptoms as just another way of telling our brains that we're safe, so that we can teach our brains that, hey, we're not in constant danger. You can relax. You can not protect me so much. But we also feel gratitude that our brain protects us at the same time. And also beyond just that simplicity of it makes our brain feel safe, I think it also goes beyond that, in the sense that when we're practicing gratitude, we're changing our story. We're telling a different story. And our stories, our words, have power, real power, to create our own experiences. And this ties in with the much more esoteric teachings and ideas that words have the power, the literal power of creation to create reality. And looking at what we can confirm, what we can prove scientifically, the stories that we tell ourselves, the words that we use, absolutely create in a big, big way our own internal state of being, our own internal experience. So you could imagine a scenario where maybe things aren't going as planned, things aren't going right, they could be better. If we're stuck in a story that this is terrible, how could this get any worse? This will never end. This is the worst thing to happen to me. That kind of story, you're going to have a pretty negative experience. You're going to feel like crap. Versus if you had a story that was much more positive, that, okay, this is inconvenient, this is less than ideal, but it's temporary. It will get better. It can get better. I'm working to get better every day. maybe even feeling gratitude for the situation as an opportunity for improvement, something like that. And you could see how this difference in story, even though the circumstances, the situation is identical, if you're stuck in that more positive story, you're going to have a much more positive experience. It may not be overall positive or pleasant, but it's going to be far less unpleasant than that other much more negative story. So, in that sense, our stories that we tell ourselves, our words that we use, have the power to create our internal experience. And we can even take that further into creating our physical reality in the sense that we definitely understand scientifically that our internal state has direct, very real, very physical effects on our body and the systems within it. So, how we feel internally, and that's a big part of a big result of the stories we tell ourselves, control, affect, not control, but affect all kinds of systems in our body, our immune system, our digestive system. Something we probably all experience from time to time is when we're stressed, our blood pressure increases. That's a very real physical effect. So it affects our physical reality in the forms of our physical body very powerfully. Now, to take that further beyond our physical bodies and the way these more esoteric traditions talk about, I think that's still beyond what modern science has explored or maybe even capable of exploring in that way. But I can tell you I've seen it, and this is anecdotal evidence, of course, but I see in people as I work with them over many, many months, possibly years, as they really change that internal state. They change that story to something much, much more positive, much, much more full of gratitude in so many ways that their external environment also typically changes, sometimes quite dramatically. Sometimes when I start working with individuals, their internal state is so, so, so negative, and their external world matches. I mean, sometimes I think to myself, how can someone be so unlucky to have all this crazy stuff happening to them? And then as time goes on and they change that internal state, they start having good things happen to them, almost like their luck has changed. And it's like and again, this may just be me seeing what I want to see because I believe that there's some truth to that, but I can't prove it. It may be coincidence, and it probably has a great deal to do with also how our change in our internal state affects our behavior, and our behavior also it affects in a big way our external environment. The things we do shape that. But I don't know. It's interesting, and it's something I have definitely noticed over time. But even if that's not true, we still have much to gain from changing our own stories, from changing the words we use to speak about our situations, to speak about ourselves. The stories we tell ourselves are powerful in ways that we scientifically understand and potentially ways far beyond that. So, as we approach this holiday that's all about giving thanks, feeling gratitude, give some thought to what is the story you tell yourself? What story are you living in? Is it one that's naturally leading to a positive outcome, leading to you feeling in a positive way about your situation, or is it the opposite? Is there room for improvement? I think there always is, but and it's not even about like lying to yourself, telling yourself a BS story that's not true, but just reframing things a little bit, having a little bit of gratitude for the things you do have, the things that are going right. Even that, while still acknowledging the things that aren't so great, can still have a pretty significant effect in how you feel and maybe even your physical reality. So, with that, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving holiday. I know I am very grateful for this opportunity to do this show, do this blog, and communicate with everyone who listens in this way. And thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, you are beautiful. You are loved. Until next time.